Welcome to Retro Skill Modelling. This is part 2 of the Fuselage GR3 build. In this part I'm dealing with building the engine and a little bit more work on the cockpit. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out part 1? But for now, let's jump into the build. So I'll start with, I'm building the movement arms that move the thrusters on the aircraft. These are just little bars that go inside the engine. Take special care here when you're building this. There's certain parts that don't get cemented because they have to have free movement. But before I can put it in, just putting in the support crossbeam. This part does get cemented, and when you put it in, it clicks into the mount. You have to push it quite firmly for it to go in, but once it's in, it's fine. You don't glue this section either. And once you're happy with it, just marry up the two engines parts together. They start rather well. It needs quite a bit of clamp to get them together though, because of the shape of it. One side will tend to buck out a bit, so just make sure that it's all lined up. So the first part to be painted is the fan main intake, and that's getting painted in Revel Aquacolor 90 Silver. On the housing, just the inside needs to be painted, and that's Revel Aquacolor 08 Matte Black. Just be careful, you've got to make sure it's all nice and even though you really can't see it when it goes in. But what it does is highlights the silver colour of the blade. For the engine itself, the first colour is Umbral 165 Medium Grey, and that goes on one end here, as you can see. And the next colour is Umbral 53 Gunmetal. And for the bracket that goes around it, it's Revel Aquacolor 08 Matte Black. Revel Aquacolor 90 Silver, that takes off the rest of the engine component. Now the engine's painted, it's time to put in the intake fan, and that just goes through a little slot there, and a cap at the end, and the cap, you glue the cap in the middle only, so it has free movement. I would advise to make sure it's completely dry before this next stage of putting it on to the engine, because you don't want any excess glue leaking out onto the actual blade. The next is to build all the workings that go on top of the engine, so that they're very small parts, and they take a bit of work to get done. For the hoses, it's Revel Aquacolor 90 for the pipe working hoses. Next is to highlight colours with Umbral 165 Medium Sea Grey, continuing with Revel Aquacolor 08 Matte Black. For the main body, it's Umbral 40 Pale Grey. I believe you can't get this colour anymore, so if you're looking for an exact match for the Umbral number 40, you'll have to look at some paint charts. I'm pretty damn sure this colour's been discontinued now. So once all the little bits are painted, it's time to assemble. The location points are quite good really on this little construction here. Just be aware where they are though. They're not exactly apparent, they don't really stand out, so you have to look for them. And for the first part, it's time to put that on the engine. There's two little holes that connect the underside to the engine. They fit straight in. I would suggest this last pipe putting it on after you put the main unit on. As you can see what I'm doing here, it just makes it easier for it to sit on the engine. And then when you put the pipe in, it just slots into place. And once it's in, put on the top half of the bracket. This was a straightforward again. It just fitted it onto the bracket and onto the engine flat. Next up is the brackets that hold the thrusters, and the first set are getting painted in 53 Gunmetal by Umbral. Then the next set is getting painted in Revel Aquacolor 90 Silver. There's two supporting rods that go in here, and they're getting painted in the silver colour as well. So it's time to put these brackets, flywheels on, and what I'm pointing at there is just the connection point, and that's the only place where it will be glued. There's a little groove inside the other unit that I'm putting on, and it just fits in right there. Now it was a little bit tight, so I took my knife and run it around the inside of it so it can free move. So to wither the engine, I'm using Tamiya's Withering Master set D, and the pipework I'm putting on burnt blue, then burnt red, and all over I'm using the oil stain just to give it a used look. Moving on to the undercarriage, this is the undercarriage for the front wheels. These are the brackets for the undercarriage flaps or coverings. It's a nice simple design on this kit. They just go into these little recesses, then the pins slot into the hole. So this is for the undercarriage wheels at the back, and what I'm putting on here is the support for the fuselage. It didn't quite fit, so I've taken one of my more robust files to file the contact points down. Well, it's always better to use something more robust when you're doing this. Not a lot had to come off, but more than normal, so a sanding stick. You'd be there a little while trying to get it to fit. So once it was fitted, it was just a case of fitting the other two parts to it to form a box. For the inner colour of this, it's Umbro 196 light grey. Obviously that will all be of the main colour, but I've painted all the same colour for now. And it was same with the compartment for the rear as well. So just putting this colour all over. I do that so that when time comes to put it in, that you haven't missed any spots. So it's better just to all then repaint whatever colour you need on top. And for the outer part that faces the cockpit, it's Umbro 56 aluminium. So switching to the fuselage now. So I'm just trimming up any bits of flash. There's only a little bit of flash on here, but it still needs to be trimmed up. This kit comes with its own stand, which is really good. There's just a little notch that you have to cut out if you're going to be using the stand. For the main colour inside the fuselage, it's Umbro 165 medium sea grey. I was debating whether to do it cockpit green, but one of the two pictures I looked at did have the grey, a couple did have the green, so I'm not sure whether they were older ones or not than the GR3. So I decided just to go for what the instructions call for. For the air intakes, I used Umbro 130 white satin on this. So I painted all the inside with it. For the rims, I used 165 medium sea grey Umbro. Now this was a mistake. I should have used Umbro 164, which is a darker grey. But it's easy to fix. I didn't notice it until I actually put it on the aircraft, but it'll be easy to paint over. For the thruster heat shield, I used XF84 dark iron from Tamiya. And for this, I used Umbro 56 aluminium. I'm not sure what this part's for. It goes inside the fuselage next to the engine. So the pinstripe, so I'm just assembling the jet intakes here. So the outer shell goes on into the inner. Now you can paint the inside of this as well with the fuselage colour if you wish, but you can hardly see it, so it's up to you. And next is the first rear wing. Nice little design this. They're designed to move, so be careful when you're placing the glue. The side here I'm painting it with Umbro 164 dark sea grey. Now it's easier to paint it now before I put on the air intake, because there's not a lot of room then to get your brushing. Be a different story if you're airbrushing. Because I'm using the old Harrier stake, it's better to do it now. There's a little decal that goes inside the air intake here, and it's a little red cross, so I'm just putting it in using decal fix solution to soften it up before placing it on. And once everything was dry, it's time to put on the air intake, and just a little bit of glue around where the seam will be, and it just pushes in nicely. Just hold it. Just be aware of the contact points at the side. They may pop out if you're not holding it properly. Next to go on is the thrust heat shield, and just two little location points, no drama there. And back to the rear wing. Now this little bracket is for attaching it to the fuselage. You glue one side on, but the other side remains cement free for the movement. The first thing to go inside is the cockpit for the pilot. There's two little grooves that this unit just fits straight into. Next is the landing gear housing. Again, there's a little grooves, but it fits flat against the housing for the pilot. The next part is the part that I don't actually know what it's for, but it goes there, as you can see. Then it's the cradle that holds the engine in place. This butts up against a little bit of plastic, so you can't get it wrong. It's a nice fit. I've just popped in the rear landing gear, like the first, and now it's the panel that covers for the windbreak or air brake. Next is the rear wing. So the bracket just slots into the hole. Then there's another little bracket which marries into it with a small square hole. So you just put a little bit of glue into that, and then put it on to the unit that's poking through, and then just leave it there to dry. Then you should get full movement. Next up is the engine. It just sits on the cradle that I put in earlier, and up against the air intake. A little bit of glue. Surprisingly, it doesn't need much for it to hold it in place. So it's the other half of the fuselage now. So it's the second rear wing, made up just the same as the first one. So once it's made up, just put it into the recess here. And it's finally time to bond the two fuselages together. Now I did actually fit where my thumb is on the right. I forgot to put in the other part in at this stage. I did manage to get it in once it was all dried, so don't make that mistake like I did. So to bond it, I put both parts together, then glued up the seams, and I done that in parts. So I done the nose cone, this part, then a little bit of the rear, and then I clamped, then glued the remaining top part. And these clamps were only temporary. I took them off fairly soon after I got the whole top off buttoned up. Next was to put in the landing gear covers. So the brackets that I put on earlier on, they just go into little holes and recesses that are cut into the plastic. So I just put one side in and then used a pair of tweezers to guide the other pin in. And once they were in, I glued up the bottom half of the fuselage the same way as I done the top. Well, this brings part 2 to an end. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you haven't watched part 1 already, feel free to check out, or indeed any other of my videos. Leave any comments you like. Part 3 up will be up soon, within the next few days, once I get to building it. But for now, thank you all for watching. Bye bye.